If you are over 60 and you wake up most mornings feeling heavy, bloated, and exhausted before the day even starts, this video is for you. And I want to begin with something important. That feeling is not just part of getting older. It is not inevitable. And it is not something you simply have to accept. Here is what the research actually shows. Constipation affects between 19 and 40% of adults over the age of 60, depending on whether clinical criteria or self-reported symptoms are used, making it one of the most common gastrointestinal complaints in older adults worldwide. And chronic constipation doesn't just cause discomfort. Research published in the Journal of Neurogastroenterology and Motility has linked persistent constipation in older adults to reduced quality of life, increased fatigue, disrupted sleep, loss of appetite, and in severe cases, serious complications, including fecal impaction. But here is the part that most people don't hear. In the majority of cases, constipation after 60 responds remarkably well to specific, evidence-based lifestyle and dietary changes. Not harsh chemical laxatives, not expensive treatments. Simple, consistent, natural interventions that work with your body's biology rather than against it. In today's video, I am going to walk you through 10 methods, each one backed by published clinical research that can help your digestive system work the way it is supposed to. I will also tell you what foods help, what foods silently make things worse, and most importantly, when you need to see a doctor rather than handle this on your own. Let's start with why this happens in the first place. Part 1. Why your gut slows down after 60. Understanding the cause is the first step toward a real solution. And the honest answer is that constipation after 60 is almost never caused by just one thing. It is what researchers call a multifactorial problem, meaning several changes are happening at once, and they compound each other. A note on the numbers. A systematic review and meta-analysis published in 2023, analyzing 36 studies involving 58,105 older adults aged 60 to 93, found a clinical constipation prevalence of 18.9% using standardized Rome criteria. When self-reported symptoms are included, bloating, straining, incomplete evacuation, hard stools, the proportion rises considerably higher, with some population surveys reporting figures between 30 and 40%. Either way, it is one of the most common digestive complaints in older adults worldwide. First, the muscle contractions that move food through your digestive tract, called peristalsis, naturally slow with age. The smooth muscle of the intestinal wall loses some of its responsiveness, and the nerve signals that coordinate those contractions become less efficient. This is a normal physiological change, but it means food and waste move through your system more slowly than they did at 40. Second, many common medications prescribed to people over 60 have constipation as a documented side effect. Calcium channel blockers for blood pressure, opioid pain medications, certain antidepressants, antihistamines, and iron supplements all reduce bowel motility. If you started experiencing constipation around the same time you began a new medication, that connection is worth discussing with your doctor. Third, most older adults drink significantly less water than they need. Thirst sensation naturally declines with age. You genuinely feel less thirsty even when your body needs fluid. And when your colon doesn't have enough water to work with, it pulls moisture from waste material, making stools harder and more difficult to pass. Fourth, reduced physical activity plays a major role. a systematic review of cohort studies published in the Journal of Global Health in 2024, analyzing data from multiple large studies, found that regular physical activity can reduce constipation risk by 38 to 48%. When you move less, your gut moves less too. Consider the experience of Dorothy, a 71-year-old retired librarian from North Carolina. She had struggled with constipation for nearly 3 years, relying on over-the-counter laxatives several times a week. After working with her gastroenterologist and a registered dietitian, she made 4 specific changes to her daily routine, all based on what we will discuss in this video. Within 6 weeks, she no longer needed laxatives. Within 3 months, she described her digestion as better than it had been in a decade. Her doctor's explanation was simple. Her gut hadn't stopped working. It just needed the right conditions to work properly again. Part 2. Warning signs your body is sending you. Before we get to solutions, let's talk about signals. Your body communicates clearly when your digestive system needs attention. Pay close attention if you experience fewer than 3 bowel movements per week. This is the clinical definition of constipation according to the Rome 4 criteria, the international standard used by gastroenterologists worldwide. Stools that are consistently hard, dry, or pellet-shaped. This indicates your colon is absorbing too much water from waste, a sign of slow transit or inadequate hydration, a feeling of incomplete emptying after a bowel movement. This is one of the most common and most distressing symptoms, and it has a specific name in gastroenterology: sensation of incomplete evacuation, significant straining during bowel movements. Beyond being uncomfortable, chronic straining increases the risk of hemorrhoids and can affect blood pressure during the effort. Bloating that worsens throughout the day, particularly after meals. When waste moves too slowly, fermentation in the colon produces excess gas. Fatigue that doesn't improve with sleep. While this has many possible causes, a struggling digestive system genuinely affects energy levels because the body is diverting resources toward managing the backed-up digestive tract. If you have experienced any combination of these for more than 3 months, what you are dealing with is chronic constipation. And it deserves a real, consistent response, not just an occasional laxative. Part 3. 10 evidence-based methods that actually work. Method 1. Warm water first thing in the morning. This is the simplest change you can make, and the research behind it is solid. Drinking warm water, ideally 250 to 300 milliliters, roughly a cup, within 30 minutes of waking triggers what gastroenterologists call the gastrocolic reflex. This is a natural physiological response where your colon contracts in response to your stomach being filled. The reflex is strongest in the morning when you've been fasting overnight. Adding a squeeze of fresh lemon juice provides a small amount of citric acid, which further stimulates digestive secretions. A study published in the Journal of Neurogastroenterology and Motility confirmed that warm water consumption stimulates colonic activity more effectively than cold water. The warmth relaxes the smooth muscle of the gut wall and enhances the reflex response. Start with this tomorrow morning. It costs nothing, takes 30 seconds, and can produce a meaningful effect within the first week of consistent practice. Method 2. Psyllium husk, the most evidence-backed fiber. If there is one dietary intervention with the most robust clinical evidence for constipation in older adults, it is psyllium husk. A systematic review and meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2022, analyzing data from randomized controlled trials, concluded that psyllium at doses above 10 grams per day and used for at least 4 weeks produces significant and consistent improvements in constipation symptoms. A 2023 double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled trial involving 250 adults with functional constipation found that psyllium husk was among the most effective fiber interventions tested, outperforming wheat bran and polydextrose on most symptom measures. How does it work? Psyllium husk is a soluble fiber that absorbs water and forms a soft, gel-like mass in your intestine. This gel softens stool, increases its bulk, and makes it significantly easier to pass without the cramping that insoluble fiber sources sometimes cause. How to use it safely? Mix 1 teaspoon of pure psyllium husk powder into a large glass of warm water, at least 250 milliliters. Stir immediately and drink within 60 seconds before it thickens. Follow with another full glass of water. This second glass is not optional. Psyllium without adequate water can actually worsen constipation. Take it once daily, preferably in the morning. Start with 1 teaspoon and give your gut 2 weeks to adjust before increasing the dose. Most people notice a meaningful improvement within 7 to 14 days of consistent use. Method 3. Prunes, more powerful than most people realize. Most people know prunes help with constipation, but most people don't know exactly why or how effectively they work when used correctly. A double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled trial published in 2022 following 84 subjects with chronic constipation over 8 weeks found that the prune group showed significantly decreased rates of hard stool after just 1 week, with results becoming more pronounced at the 7-week mark. Importantly, the improvement came without increases in diarrhea, loose stools, or urgency, making prunes one of the gentlest and best tolerated natural interventions available. Prunes work through 3 separate mechanisms simultaneously. They contain sorbitol, a naturally occurring sugar alcohol that draws water into the colon through osmosis, softening stool. They are rich in dietary fiber, which adds bulk. And they contain unique polyphenols that stimulate the production of serotonin in the gut lining, which directly triggers intestinal contractions. For consistent results, eat 4 to 6 prunes daily, either as a snack or blended into warm water as a simple drink. In a head-to-head, randomized clinical trial published in Alimentary Pharmacology and Therapeutics, dried prunes were found to be more effective than psyllium for mild to moderate constipation. That is a meaningful comparison. Method 4. Flaxseed infusion. Flax seeds provide both soluble and insoluble fiber in a ratio that is particularly well suited for digestive health. The soluble fiber forms a gel that softens stool, while the insoluble fiber adds bulk and accelerates transit time. The clinical trial completed in Medellin in 2023-2024 specifically examined a combination of flaxseed, chia, and psyllium in institutionalized older adults with chronic constipation, one of the most difficult populations to treat, and found the intervention effective for non-pharmacological management of constipation. Flax seeds also contain alpha-linolenic acid, an omega-3 fatty acid with anti-inflammatory properties that support the health of the intestinal lining itself. The preparation is simple. Soak 1 tablespoon of whole flax seeds in a cup of warm water overnight. In the morning, drink the slightly thickened liquid and chew the softened seeds. The soaking process releases the mucilaginous compounds from the seed coat, making them immediately available to your digestive system. Alternatively, grind flax seeds fresh each day using a small coffee grinder and add 1 to 2 tablespoons to oatmeal, yogurt, or a smoothie. One important note: ground flaxseed is far more bioavailable than whole flaxseed. Whole seeds often pass through largely undigested. Grind them or soak them. Don't eat them whole and dry. Method 5. The evening walk. This is not a gentle suggestion. This is one of the most consistently supported interventions in gastroenterology research, and it requires zero cost and zero equipment. A systematic review of cohort studies published in the Journal of Global Health in 2024 analyzed data showing that regular physical activity reduces constipation risk by 38 to 48% across multiple populations. And a 2025 study published in Scientific Reports examining the immediate effects of walking on gut motility found that bowel sounds, a measurable indicator of intestinal activity, increased significantly within just 1 to 2 minutes of beginning a 20-minute walk. The mechanism is mechanical and hormonal. Walking stimulates the vagus nerve, which directly regulates gut motility. The upright posture and abdominal muscle engagement during walking physically massage the intestines, and the rhythmic movement of the body stimulates the release of gastrointestinal hormones that accelerate transit. You don't need to walk fast or far. A gentle 20-minute walk after your evening meal, done consistently every day, produces measurable improvements in colonic transit time within 2 to 4 weeks. Evening timing is particularly effective because it harnesses the natural increase in gut motility that occurs a few hours after dinner. Method 6. Oat porridge. Simple and deeply effective. Oats are among the richest dietary sources of a specific type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan. Beta-glucan forms a viscous gel in the digestive tract that slows digestion in a beneficial way, regulating glucose absorption, feeding beneficial gut bacteria, and adding soft bulk to stool. Regular consumption of oats has been associated in multiple studies with improved bowel regularity and stool consistency. Oatmeal also contains resistant starch, a prebiotic that feeds the beneficial bacteria in your colon, supporting the gut microbiome that plays a central role in digestive health. For people over 60, oatmeal has an additional advantage. It is easy to chew, gentle on the stomach lining, and well tolerated even by those with sensitive digestive systems. Cook whole rolled oats, not instant oats, which have less fiber, in warm water or unsweetened plant milk. Add a tablespoon of ground flaxseed, a handful of prunes, and a sprinkle of cinnamon. You have just combined 3 of the methods in this video into a single breakfast bowl. Method 7. Kefir and fermented foods for gut bacteria. Your gut microbiome, the community of bacteria living in your colon, plays a direct role in bowel regularity. Certain strains of beneficial bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids that stimulate intestinal contractions and regulate the speed of transit. When those bacterial populations are diminished, which happens with age, antibiotic use, and a low-fiber diet, the gut becomes less responsive. A 2023 double-blind randomized placebo-controlled trial testing probiotic strains, Bifidobacterium animalis and Lactobacillus rhamnosus in adults with functional constipation found significant improvements in stool frequency and consistency compared to placebo. Kefir is one of the most practical and cost-effective ways to deliver beneficial bacteria to your gut consistently. It contains multiple live cultures in higher concentrations than most commercial yogurts. 1 cup of plain kefir daily, consumed with or after a meal, to protect the bacteria from stomach acid, provides a meaningful probiotic load that supports the gut microbiome over weeks and months. Sauerkraut and kimchi are also excellent sources, provided they are the raw, refrigerated variety, not the shelf-stable canned versions, which have been heat-treated and contain no live cultures. Method 8. Hydration. More specific than most people realize. Most people know they need to drink more water. What most people don't know is how directly and specifically dehydration affects stool consistency. Your colon's primary job is to absorb water from digestive waste before it is excreted. This is a normal and necessary function. But when your body is systemically dehydrated, your colon compensates by extracting more water than usual from waste material, leaving stools dry, hard, and difficult to pass. The European Food Safety Authority recommends 2 liters of total fluid daily for women and 2.5 liters for men, and these recommendations apply equally to older adults. Yet studies consistently show that most adults over 65 fall significantly short of these targets, partly because thirst sensation declines naturally with age. A practical solution: drink 1 glass of warm water immediately upon waking, 1 glass before each meal, and 1 glass in the mid-afternoon. This distributes hydration evenly across the day rather than relying on thirst as a signal. Herbal teas, particularly chamomile, peppermint, and fennel, count toward your daily fluid intake and provide additional digestive benefits. Method 9. Magnesium. The mineral most seniors are missing. Magnesium plays a direct role in bowel function that most people are completely unaware of. It draws water into the colon through osmosis, the same mechanism as sorbitol in prunes, which softens stool and stimulates gentle contractions. It is, in fact, the active ingredient in some of the safest over-the-counter laxatives available. But beyond its direct effect on stool, magnesium deficiency is remarkably common in adults over 60. A survey published in Nutrients found that up to 45% of older adults in developed countries consume less magnesium than the recommended amount daily. And among the consequences of magnesium deficiency, muscle cramping, poor sleep, fatigue, and, significantly, constipation. Food sources rich in magnesium include dark leafy greens such as spinach and Swiss chard, pumpkin seeds, almonds, black beans, and dark chocolate above 70% cacao. Adding these foods consistently to your diet can meaningfully improve magnesium status over 4 to 6 weeks, and many people notice improved bowel regularity as a welcome side effect. If you are considering a magnesium supplement, magnesium citrate and magnesium glycinate are the best absorbed forms. Start with a low dose, 100 to 150 milligrams, and discuss supplementation with your doctor, particularly if you have kidney disease. Method 10. The internal brush. Raw beet and carrot salad. This is the simplest food intervention on the list, and one that often produces noticeable results within the first week. Raw beetroot and raw carrot are both exceptionally rich in insoluble fiber, the type that adds physical bulk to stool and mechanically stimulates the intestinal wall as it moves through. Unlike soluble fiber, which forms a gel, insoluble fiber acts more like a gentle brush, keeping waste moving and preventing the sluggishness that leads to hardening. Beetroot contains additional compounds called betalains, which have documented anti-inflammatory effects on the intestinal lining. And both vegetables support liver function, relevant because the liver produces bile, which plays a direct role in fat digestion and stimulates intestinal motility. Grate 1 medium raw beet and 2 medium raw carrots. Dress with a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil and fresh lemon juice. The olive oil provides oleic acid, which has a mild stimulating effect on intestinal contractions. There is a reason the Mediterranean diet is associated with better digestive health. Eat this salad 3 to 4 times per week as a side dish or light lunch. Part 4. Foods that help and foods that quietly make things worse. Foods that support bowel regularity. Kiwi fruit. 2 kiwis per day have been shown in multiple studies to be specifically effective for functional constipation, including in older adults. Papaya contains papain, a digestive enzyme that supports breakdown of food proteins. Pears are rich in sorbitol and pectin. Legumes, lentils, chickpeas, black beans are among the highest fiber foods available and profoundly support gut microbiome diversity. Foods that consistently worsen constipation. Refined white bread and white rice have had most of their fiber removed. Fried foods slow gastric emptying and reduce gut motility. Ultra-processed foods, packaged snacks, fast food, commercial pastries are typically very low in fiber and high in ingredients that disrupt the gut microbiome. Excess dairy, particularly aged cheese, can slow transit time significantly in people who are sensitive to it. Alcohol is a diuretic that worsens the dehydration that contributes to hard stools. Part 5. When to see a doctor. This video is about natural, evidence-based interventions. But there are situations where constipation requires medical attention, and being honest about this is important. See your doctor promptly if your constipation is new and sudden, particularly if you are over 60 and have not had this problem before. A sudden change in bowel habits can be an early warning sign of conditions that need investigation. See your doctor if you notice blood in your stool or on toilet paper. While this is often caused by hemorrhoids from straining, it always requires evaluation. See your doctor if constipation is accompanied by significant abdominal pain, unintentional weight loss, or a persistent feeling of something being wrong. These are red flags that go beyond dietary intervention. And if you have tried consistent dietary and lifestyle changes for 4 to 6 weeks without meaningful improvement, a gastroenterologist can help identify whether there is an underlying motility disorder, pelvic floor dysfunction, or medication interaction that needs a different approach. Your digestive system after 60 has not stopped working. In the vast majority of cases, it simply needs the right conditions: adequate fiber, consistent hydration, daily movement, and the right foods to function the way it is designed to. Start with just 2 or 3 of these methods. Warm water every morning. A 20-minute walk after dinner. Psyllium husk once daily. Give it 4 weeks of genuine consistency. Most people who commit to even this simple foundation notice a meaningful change in how they feel. Lighter, more energetic, more comfortable in their own body. Small, consistent changes compound over time. And feeling better in your gut is one of the changes that touches every other part of your life. If this video was useful, please tap the like button. It helps this channel reach more people who could benefit from this information. Subscribe and turn on notifications for weekly science-backed health tips designed specifically for life after 60. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these 10 methods are you most excited to try. I read every single comment and would love to hear from you.